On this episode, we talk about AI, hindsight being 2020 when starting a business, and building a business around what you're passionate about. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 39 of the AskEngine show. It is a Monday morning. You will see this on Tuesday, but we're excited to get back into the office. Had a great weekend. Want to say a special thank you to everybody who upvoted us on Product Hunt. We were just overwhelmed with the amount of support from the community. The engine community is strong, and so just take a second to say, thank you. We're super humbled by it, and we're excited to continue to be able to release things. We've got the actual MVP release coming up in the next little bit, and so stay tuned to that. And just a massive thank you to everybody who took the time to upvote and support us. We've got 3 questions today, so we're going to go ahead and jump in with the first question. You want to say your tagline?
What's this? What's my
next?
tagline? Hey, what's next?
What's next?
Are we ready? Let's dive in. No one cares about us. They want to learn about e-commerce, right?
Perfect. All right, so first question comes from Ecommerce Empires, and Arsalan asks, for what purposes do you use AI applications for your e-commerce store? And I thought this was a super interesting question. I want to, take a quick second to understand what people are considering AI, and then kind of go into what you can use it for now, and more importantly, what we see coming over the horizon.
Yeah.
So,
the simplest are just algorithms that drive, related products, et cetera. AI, there's so much potential there of true AI and machine learning and everything in e-commerce, and I think it gets overused. The phrase AI, don't you agree?
Yeah, everything is AI.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you can raise the valuation of your company on your pitch deck when you're raising capital just by, oh yes, we use machine learning. We use AI. No, you don't. Most likely
built on the blockchain.
Exactly, built on the blockchain AI, and
we're ICOing.
Exactly. So, I mean, I look at the related product algorithm as a big one. Mm-hmm. The marketing flows that come out of what happens, there's a lot of AI that you can put around there. It's more than just the same image of a product that they looked at. Amazon has done a really good job of this over the years, although I think some of theirs is more algorithms than true AI.
Yes.
But I think what you need is a huge, large data set to be able to pull this off. And that's one of the things we're working on in Engine, is how you leverage thousands of stores into actual best practices. Mm-hmm. And I think there's machine learning that goes into that, and AI to be able to make suggestions to eventual store owners. So we're not there yet. We're exploring this pretty dramatically. You're away from a lot of those things. But what have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think that at the basic level, using AI to enhance the customer experience by suggestive selling, upsells, cross-sells, things of that nature is kind of a standard in what we've become accustomed to. Mm-hmm. I can't really think off the top of my head of someone who's just using AI, a consumer-facing AI to really enhance the experience. I think right now a lot of it is on back-end systems and processes.
Bots are, I mean, done correctly.
I think bots that connect data to consumer, very much so. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's such an early space, which is like funny to say because AI is not what's sentient? What's the word you use?
Sentient?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
I can't remember the vocab word. But like, it's not a brand new kind of thing. But I'm just excited to see in the space. If we come across an example, then we'll be sure to tag it in the show notes. I can't think of a specific one, but yeah, I mean, being able to enhance the consumer experience through suggestive selling, recommendations, anything from communication standpoint, how to use machine learning and AI to be the first line of customer service, and I think that's a really interesting space to be in as well.
Yeah, the personalization of the experience. I mean, that's been done for a while, so I don't know that there's anything new there yet, but we'll keep an eye out.
We'll let you know. Question number 2, it comes from the entrepreneurial Reddit subreddit category, and it asks, if you've started a business, what would be your biggest piece of advice or something you wish you would have known early on? This is the age-old question. I love this question, but I also don't like this question, because if you knew everything before you started a business, most businesses wouldn't be started, in my opinion.
I think there's pattern recognition. I think the things that I learned after doing a few of these, it's the first few employees that set the cultural DNA. And that to me is the most important thing you do as a CEO or founder, is the first 4 or 5 people around the table. Because when you go from 5 people to 12 people, like I've done a few times, boy, the mold's pretty much set. You tend to, if you've got A players in the first 5, the next 7 or 8 or 10 that join the team are also going to be A players, and then from there it becomes relatively easy. So set the culture, know what you believe, know what you stand for, and hire people that fit that, not just technical talent.
Mm-hmm.
That's easier said than done, but that is one big lesson. The other big lesson that I wish I'd have known is control. So as you raise venture capital and you go through the seed round, the angel round, the seed round, the Series A, Series B, Series C, somewhere along the way in my last business, I gave up control of the business. And it's not that I'm a control freak, it's just when you've sold the majority of your company, the investors' interest in that of the CEO and the team and everything don't always match. So that's something I'll look out for. I think Mark Zuckerberg has done it crazy well. I mean, he sold a ton of the company over time as they've gone public, but he owns controlling shares to protect, so he says, the interests and the platform of Facebook. So I think that's an extreme. You're not Mark Zuckerberg. We're definitely not Mark Zuckerberg. So you aren't going to be able to exert that kind of power as you go out and raise outside capital. But think through it. Think about what's important to you and why. So those are the 2 big things that I've messed up in the past that hopefully we do a little better here.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, and I've not built a business on the scale of John, but for me, the biggest thing that I had to realize in business is that things don't happen as quickly as you want them to. And it goes with everything, signing up clients if you're a service business, or everything that you think that you want to happen, it's going to take longer than you think it will. And for me, like, learning that was really important, because ultimately you work towards speed, but it's speed in the day-to-day things that you're doing. It's speed in implementation. It's speed in the tactics that build your business, but the overall strategy, you have to understand that it's going to take a long time, and you have to be okay with that if you're trying to build something substantial. So you
have to be frustrated with that too. You have to be able to look at it and be frustrated with the amount of time it's taking, and try to push. If you look at lean startup, how many times can you go through the launch, iterate, launch, learn, iterate cycle? The more times you can go through that, the better you are. And Bill Gates' famous quote, you'll like this. I don't know, you probably know it, but I forget the exact quote, but he said something to the effect of, people always overestimate what they can get done in 1 year, but always underestimate what they can get done in a decade. And that's pretty accurate. If you look at 5 years of building a business, man, you go from nothing to something pretty spectacular. But in 1 year, boy, especially with your head down in the weeds, it's hard. But you have to push it. You have to say faster, faster, faster all the time, I think.
Yeah. The last thing I'll cap on this is ruthless prioritization.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing I've learned coming to Engine, is when you're sitting in a room, especially with John as a CEO, and him saying, what are we doing? And then asking, why are we doing it? You've got to be ruthless in your time management and prioritization as a business. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of activity and not a lot of results produced from it. So I think that's a big one.
Yep.
Question number 3 comes from the e-commerce subreddit, and the question's kind of long, so I'll wrap it up into a succinct question. But the Redditor is asking, he's starting an e-commerce store, and his question is, should he build a e-commerce store around a product that he doesn't have a passion for that can sell, or a product that he does have passion for that maybe won't sell? And to give you some more context, so he's talking about, he's a marketer, he loves the marketing aspect of it, but he's struggling to find a product that he cares about, like producing content for, things of that nature. And I think that it's something you can speak very strongly to, and so I'll let you kind of take the stage there.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple schools of thought there. The way I started my last business, there was no passion in it. We ended up selling cowboy boots and medical scrubs and a bunch of different niche products in a bunch of different niche stores. I had no passion for it, but I did have a passion for the data. So this was an arbitrage business that was based around keyword traffic in the beginning. And so ours was around a passion to find those things. And we built a culture around that. Then ultimately it shifted over towards something I didn't have a passion for. I actually left the business after that point. But so second way, we had Lance and Lauren from Lauren James in here the other day, and they actually said, even before product, it starts with the brand and what you stand for and how you resonate with the customers. And once you have that, then the product comes from that. And then the customer acquisition just flows naturally from that. So that's, completely the opposite of the way I've ever done a business. So I always look at when we were running our startup studio, the e-commerce startup studio, AC Ventures, we started 12 companies, and every one of them were demand-based. So we'd look at, is there demand for what we're about to build? If so, is there a way to go get it, harvest that demand profitably? And then, and only then, did we dive into that business. The other school of thought is just the opposite. You create the brand, then create the product, then. So I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to do it, but I definitely have some. The way I've always done it has been data driven and a passion for that data more than anything.
Yeah, and I think that you've got to as I grow older, I used to be a really big proponent of you've got to do something you love. But if that's your guiding force, you're going to be rather wishy-washy. We as humans, like, I love certain things about a business and I hate other certain things about a business. I think that you need to level up the conversation to understanding, like, loving overarching principles in a business. You can be selling the most unexciting thing in the world, but if you're crushing it, you're going to love it because it's producing an income, you're being fulfilled from it. So understanding when you're building a business, what are you passionate? If you're passionate about marketing, then you should be passionate about marketing almost anything. Obviously, there's going to be some things that you're not passionate about, but you need to find a passion that feeds off of. It's not product specific or it's not X specific. It's a principle that you can be excited about. Because there's going to be times in business where you don't love what you're doing. If you're starting out and you're having to individually package every single purchase that you're sending out, you're not going to love that. But you're going to love the business. And so I think
the most fun is where the two mesh, right? Yeah. For me, I think, honestly, the first time I've ever been passionate about something I'm building is with Engine. So I love the software that we're building. I think we're solving a real problem, one that I've had personally. So there's passion there. And then you look at how to acquire customers and the solution we provide. I think we've got that answered as well. It's a fun project for me personally, and honestly, in 20 some odd years of business, the first time my passion and opportunity have aligned. I've always been heavily on opportunity and arbitraging that opportunity and taking advantage of a hole in a market, etc. But now here's a hole in the market, an opportunity. Oh, and I happen to be more passionate about this than anything that I've ever done in business, at least. So it's pretty neat where those two things finally do collide, and we'll see how it does.
Perfect. We'll look back at this in 6 years and be like,
there you go,
$1 billion company. Awesome. Question of the day. I want to talk to you all about the last question. So what drives you in business? What are you passionate about in business? And it doesn't have to be specifically a product, this or that. What do you actually care about? What gets you excited about what you're working on? I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments below in the section. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.